Yo, turn it up, let's go! Welcome to Dog Pro Radio! Welcome to Dog Pro Radio!
Are you overwhelmed trying to run your dog training business and market for it at the same time? Let's be honest, scaling isn't an option anymore. If you're not using Meta and Google Ads to market for your business, you have already fallen behind. And this year, it's gonna hurt more than it ever has before. Here at Unleashed Consulting, we create proven Meta and Google Ads campaigns that will help grow your business and get more clients in the door. Every day that you wait is a day that your competition is taking action. And more importantly, taking leads from your business. So if you're ready to scale, visit unleashedconsulting.com to claim your exclusive free month of marketing just for IACP members.
Duke Ferguson. Yeah, we are live. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, Matt. How you doing, buddy?
You know, I say we're live, but we're not live. We're recording. This will go out in like 3 weeks, but
we're alive. We're alive, baby. It's the live on the date, the 30th, or whatever.
Live sounds so much better than we're recording right now, right?
I know. And what is live? Live in person or live far away?
Yeah, we're something.
Happy to be alive.
Hey, so I didn't tell you yet, but this is the first episode of season 2 of Dog Pro Radio. So
yes,
this is going live
there, yeah?
In
awesome.
the new year. Yeah, you are number 1 and super excited to have you on. And this has been a long time coming. We should have had you on last year. It was a crazy year and kind of got away from us and the schedule was nuts, but super excited for this. I think this is going to be a really fun episode. I think people are really going to like it.
Yeah, well, that's what I love to have fun in the episodes. We don't do too many, but I'm on this little island running around, you know, like doing my thing. Trying to share more and more. That's the hard thing. You know, a lot of trainers I see, they're good at it. I'm not usually on there as much. I try to in 2025, making a little bit more presentation back online. I had to get away from it for quite a while, just for health. As a coach, growing and learning, having ADHD as a trainer, don't know any of those. That's one of the things I did against some of the guidance of some coaches. They're like, dude, I wouldn't do that. I'm like, I need to right now. Like I really do. So because I had to care for me. Didn't matter how successful I was, what was going on, everything there. That just happened. You know, it happened but what happened to me on the way was different. So I had to get that help and say, wait a minute, where am I going here? Didn't have really that clarity. I kind of felt it from my gut, but if you don't actually sit down and think about it, pray about it, and have something, and you just start saying yes, 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 that can be pretty cool. You can have a lot of opportunities and a fun ride, but you can get to the top of some ladders and realize, wrong ladder for who I really am. And as we change in life,
wrong ladder. I like that.
Yeah, wrong ladder, wrong mountain. And I've climbed it a few times and said, wait a minute. It's pretty cool up here. I like the view, but it's not me. I didn't realize I'd be here. Where do we go from here? You know what I mean? And that starts young. I've been in this industry young. I started with gun dogs at 12 years old, but I literally started dogs kept me alive. Like literally, I always tell people wherever I go, you want to know anything about Duke, hunting, fishing, dogs, and God, I say that everywhere, but there was a point where it was just hunting, fishing, and dogs. And dogs were the main part because life is tough. Life comes at you. It's been coming at me since you were like 4, when I was about 4, right? So you see in my online on the website, little pictures, you know, me and stuff like that in a doghouse, cute little kid in a doghouse. That doghouse and that dog, those dogs kind of kept me alive due to a lot of just trauma, a lot of abuse, you know, I kind of lived in that lifestyle. I love to share those stories. What I've been trying to do now, I got a podcast I started. It wasn't supposed to be. It's called the Weekly Recall. It was supposed to be just a 5-minute kind of jack you up thing, and you can and put it to your email and stuff every week. But I talk a lot. So and when you're by yourself quite a bit, it was hard. But once I get going, it started to be like 18 or 20 minutes. And I was like, people like it. And that kind of slowed the Hunting, Fishing, Dogs, and God podcast or thing down yet. I'm still in that works. But Matt, my whole life's been outdoors. I'm an outdoors enthusiast, like right from the get-go, right from little kid in the woods, out with the dogs, always had a dog by my side. I spent a lot of time alone per se, because I was a military brat. So at the age of 5 or 6, I actually am from Prince Edward Island, was born here. I started school in British Columbia. and I've been in 9 schools out of 12. So you get to meet a lot of people. You get to see how dangerous the world can be when you're the new kid in school all the time. But you know what? I've learned a ton over that. What I've taken all those things in life is I look at it, it's like, this is what I've been doing. I've been working with animals. It wasn't dogs always. I didn't know you could make a living training dogs when I was young, 16, 18, 20s. I had no clue. And I thought I was going to be a professional duck hunter when I was 12. First, it was a pharmacist with my dad because he was a pharmacist. And I was just outdoors with dogs so much and not with a lot of people all the time. So it was like just that passion. And I used to watch the ducks come right in, swimming by me on the riverside. And I always got to see how close I could get to them, right? Like being super quiet, super still. It was a challenge for me as a kid. And I got real good at it. Like I've caught coyotes barehanded, but I went through as a wildlife tech first, not a dog trainer. And as a wildlife tech, biology, I was with the ducks and the geese and the salmon inland fisheries, not so much out in the ocean. And that was awesome. That was like kind of a dream job because I'm that hunting and fishing guy. But I'm more of the outdoors and the relationship builder and the peacemaker instead of the law enforcement guy that wants to go catching people. Mind you, I don't like when people are, at it predominantly. That's what they do most. So I came from a family of poachers, my whole family background. So like hunting and surviving and, but when I was in law enforcement, they helped me out quite a bit. So it was pretty cool. Short-lived, 1998. I was with a Canine unit, and I thought, man, I'm only 20 years old. We got it going on young. That's what I thought I would do, go full-time with Canine, provincial, running around the woods with dogs. And that was short-lived. And the government turfed their program, and my dad had passed away, and he was the pharmacist. So I tell people I went from Nova Scotia over there back home to PEI to run a pharmacy, which is kind of interesting because I was just a kid. I'm an outdoors dog guy, hunting, fishing dog guy then. And now I got a pharmacy. I'm in the pharmacy world. Boom. Magic. And I'm like $750,000 of debt, and my house burned down a few months later. So it's like that country song goes, and it was rough, dude. I won't discount any of that. That was rough. And I was in a really real dark place. You can get hit so hard. You don't have to go away and have, different countries drop bombs on you to be hit hard. Everybody knows that we're all real if we're truthful. So I had to deal with a lot of stuff. And when people are doing things like, in business and I'm 21. I don't know anything about pharmaceutical business at the time. I knew a little bit. I mean, who's in it. I know how to deal with people and how to talk to people, whether I'm scared or not. You know what I mean? It's like, boom, courageous. I had to do that to live, to survive and thrive. So here I am in the drug industry dealing with, I'm an owner. So what helped me is I got into a company, you call it a franchise, I guess, ownership of PharmaSave. And they were the pharmacists. It was run by pharmacists. I'm one of the only pharmacy owners in Canada who wasn't a pharmacist, and I'm just a kid. Couldn't even read a financial statement to save my life. So with coaches, I learned all that. And I was up against Walmart, Superstore, like the grocery chains. If you look back 98 when there was no pharmacies in Walmarts, you're in the States and Canada, it's the same stuff though. And when they went to war at each other, this little dude who was in a hot mess ended up head to head with these guys. How do you go up against Walmart when you're a 21-year-old kid that just loves to hunt fish and you got, coaches? And you need to be like a freaking Malinois. You can't be saying you want stuff and not actually going for it. And so many people in the industry, when I talk to pet owners, when we do consultations, they're like, oh, I want this. When you're asking them and they get clear, why do you want it? They don't really know. There's a little tip out there. Trainers don't sell training. Sell transformation to people's pains in their life through the gifts that you were given as a dog trainer, and then get to know how to work with the people. I just happened to survive the industry long enough. Dogs are the easy part.
Let's make sure we get back to that statement about selling the transformation. And I think, we can continue going through your story, which I think is great, but let's not lose sight of that because I think that's a really interesting point for most dog trainers.
What brought me into this industry, because it was in that pharmacy, I was working like a maniac to make it work up against all these guys, these companies and stuff. I could have said, forget, go bankrupt and start young and go, right? But I didn't. I'm just like a maniac. I just wanted to serve, and I wanted to see what can I do? Like, it was terrifying, but I'm just like, one thing, it's a powerful statement. Somebody gave it to me years ago, and then years ago, and then I lost that statement. But when you can give yourself permission to be curious and say to yourself, I have no idea, but I know I have faith that I'm going to figure it out. You need to know in order to continue to figure that out, because you're going to hit roadblocks, you're going to get frustrations, you're going to get all frustrated. We're all a hot mess. I've never seen more people in planet Earth angrier than is 2025, 2024. I'm with a lot of the high performance coaches. We're talking, I'm seeing it. It's like, but you know what? I don't have to. You go on Facebook, you go on the internet, you look at our industry, you look at the professional pages. I sit back and it makes me sad, because there's really amazing trainers, amazing people, and they're all fighting each other because of hurts and egos and just beliefs, false beliefs, good beliefs. There's a lot of great trainers out there, but we can get out of our heads and get out of our own way. And that's where I say, one of the things that's why I became a coach for trainers in this industry. I've just happened to, survive it long enough. But I mean, I've had quite a role. It's pretty good at different locations, Canada, United States, learned that ladder. It's like, not for me. We switch it. You start on your own a little bit to grow it again. I'm still figuring it out after 20 some years, right? Student of the game. But there's a big reason why. So I'm all into, let's try it. Let's go and see what can happen. Even if it's a complete stink fail, let's just do it. You got to show up and try, right? Certain things. So I've actually done that in the last year, big time. And just even over Christmas, I did my first ever free live Zooms for trainers, just open coaching. And literally, the first one, I was like, oh, could I do the PowerPoint stuff? I'm not that guy. Like, I am, but I'm not, right? So I did it. It was okay, but I'm just like, I need to throw this stuff and go freestyle. Right? So the other day, was it Friday night? The other night, I went, it was a short thing. And I share this because it's not a fail, because I showed up and I did it. So I was stoked for the second one. I was going to make it a little better. Well, there was less people, no problem. Well, I was just going to coach raw. We're going to show up. But I need you guys to communicate back to me, right? What happened? It was like blank screens. Some of them probably watch this, blank screens. I'm asking questions. Why are you here? What do you want to learn? What do you want to coach? Nothing. I'm like, I'm in it, right? So it's like, what do you do? I'm not prepared. So I'm like, I'm going to figure it out. What would you do? Anybody listening, what would you do? You just start this pod. You've never done it before. It's a Zoom. It's free, and you're like, oh. Some of us would back out and say, okay, guys, if there's nobody going to talk, see you later. Me? No. I'm like, I'm going to have fun with this. I really tried. And then just people did start. Very, very tough. But I came out of that and I didn't get the result, the things that I was looking for in my mind, but it's like, no problem. I left it and I felt like $1 million, even though it was technically like the hardest Zoom I've ever done in my life. Your biggest fear is like, what if nobody shows up? Or what if, the other thing is like, what if nobody engages? But now I know, if this happens again, I know the things that I can do to turn it on, to get engagement and have fun doing it in an extremely stressful situation. But it's not the first time I've been in that scenario, right? So it's like, it sounds easy. It's not. I was ready to be like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it. I'm going to do it. And ding, ding, people start showing up. You're like, oh, thank God. But then when nobody says nothing, you're like, right? You got to. So here's the powerful thing that I was taught that helped me. Duke, you showed up. You're here. You need to become the thermostat on that wall. I can't even see their faces. I don't know who I'm talking to, but I know I have that gift. Just do it. Why am I here? So I had to ask myself, why am I here? Who am I here for? No matter. Just let it roll. So I did. And I'm super stoked, even 2 days later, from just doing the hard. I didn't want to do that for years. I'm like, I'm not that type of just, but now I love it. And I'm like, ooh, I have ideas now. And that podcast.
Well, why don't let's dive in a little bit to what it is you do overall. So you've talked some about your coaching.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting because our listeners are dog trainers. I don't know the percentage, but the vast majority of the listeners are dog trainers. So walk us through a little bit what it is you do to help trainers kind of on a, just on a daily, weekly, monthly basis.
It's pretty unique because I do to trainers now what I needed to search for with other people. There was no certified high performance coach in the dog training world. I went to some different coaches in their canine industry, some pretty good advice, and then someone's not, right? It's like, ooh, there's no actual trained coaching there. When you find a curriculum that's extremely powerful, you got to pay for it. So I sat in the sidelines for a little while. I was like, went in all the way, and it changed my life. It transformed me so much. When I think that everybody thinks you're, oh, that guy's successful. That's this, that. You can be a hot mess. Nobody knows what's going on in your head right now. Matt or me, we're like actors, right? There's only one dude knows the truth, sees through it. Us, the only way is when we can actually show up and be authentic. And that's so hard in this industry when everybody's shooting at each other in a sense, right? With emotion. So you look up like, I went into the industry, the dog training industry from the conservation and stuff because of a couple of things. I knew I wanted to train animals. I knew I wanted to work with dogs. That the people thing was a scary thing for me, really. And that's why I went in policing. I think originally just because I'm more of an authority place that you're less going to fight. I didn't realize that that's a different ballgame. I grew up with a lot of domestics in my childhood, and then being in policing, you're helping people with that. So it's kind of nice. And I fell in love with helping people, even though it's terrifying. Running into an armed standoff that's not the issue. It's trying to deal with some people that are really intense and they don't understand and they need that help and there's stuff going on. So I love that. Dogs became easy for me. My whole life was dogs. Trying to explain to people dogs and what they need. That was the challenge to block. And early on, I think I survived long enough because I was pretty good at it and got better and got better and got better. And I mean, I've had people in lessons cry and giving me hugs and high-fiving because now the way I can have it land and it made a lot of mistakes, upset a lot of people along the way, but they forgive me because I'm authentic and I cared. And I never showed up with the stinky attitude, the defensive attitude. A lot of times I used to be way back, the old Duke, passive aggressive. I didn't even know what that word was, but I used to, that was how I would come back to, being a little bit stinky that way. And I see it all the time in our industry because when I changed me and I started to see and understand some of those things, I see it now as clear as a coach, but that's why I became a coach. I was told I had 12 some years experience. And I say experience, I mean gun dogs, police dogs, search and rescue dogs, not a professional trainer. I never went to any school back then at that time. That's my whole life is dogs, right? From 3, started at 12, DVDs, books, and that stuff, right? And only gun dog world. And that's old. That was old stuff, right? Everything's changed now. But I was told, so I was struggling with a dog that I was training for search and rescue. I was trying to pave a way to break open that industry here. There was never one, never a civilian dog. I actually started the first group while I was running the pharmacy, 100 hours work week, joined the Federal Police Auxiliary, volunteered for 20 years, a police officer. They got paid. I was good for nothing. They were armed. I was running around with no gun. So that's why I use sticks and knives. People see me in the videos. What the hell are you doing beating up those things for? We're in Canada, man. I'll hunt. Right? I don't want guns to be controversial. I want to keep my friggin' guns to survive and eat. And hey, I don't need them, right? Unless somebody, but nobody's got them here. I digress. I got into the dog training pet world. I didn't think that was a thing, right? I knew the canines. I knew gun dog stuff. I'm going to be a hunting guy for my life. So that's going to be a thing. And when I started training dogs, all of the behavior problems, them running away, getting hit by cars, the aggression, the reactivity, all that stuff. I was one of those pet owners in the pet or pet families that moved around that had, stuff going on that drives me crazy. That lifestyle because the dogs are pets. They're loved, but that's it. There's nothing, then they run, there's no training. There's nothing there. And it could be way better. Right. I've been bit by so many dogs when I'm young and not like, oh, we should put them down. No, because that was me. I was in the doghouse hugging the little monster. Right. So I understand dogs from my lifestyle and all the mistakes that I make, kind of like relationships with people. Learning how to explain that as a pro wasn't there back in the day, right? What brought me into pet world was I had resource guarding with a chocolate lab that I was training with search and rescue. And he was great dog, a friggin' machine. And I was training him like more of a working dog than a pet dog back then. So there was a difference. I didn't know that back then. All I knew is this dog is going to rip you apart, and he's a chocolate lab if you give him anything like a bone or anything. So I was cutting the grass, had a great search session. He was kind of being a turkey, that 8-month age, full intact, wouldn't come when he was called, all that stuff, pulling, because he was a machine for search and rescue, because I was wanting to prove to everybody who was like, no, you can't do that, can't do that. Yeah, well, watch this, I'll show you. That's kind of how I grew up. And I did do a lot of crazy cool stuff with that mentality, but it is not a very healthy mentality by times. So I was told by an animal behaviorist, because that's where I actually went to. Believe it or not, I went to my vet because I got bit by this dog. I gave him a bone. I went in, he nailed, and I was like, okay, no good. Tried a few things, got pretty firm, called the canine units. So I'm like, I don't know, but I'm very open. I've been around. And then I went down to the vet, and I said to the vet, I'm like, what do you think of this? Now, we have a very powerful, big vet college in the province. And they happen to have an animal behaviorist. Well, they still do, but I'm talking like 100 years ago. So they've gone through one or two. But the information's very similar. So what I found is they gave me a pamphlet and said, this is written by an animal behaviorist, and this will help your resource guarding. And I was told, the pamphlet straight out said, like, do not say no. There's no aggression here. Like, literally, it's not aggression. I'm like, well, freak, like, what's your definition of aggression? You freaking bit my ass. It's my book. Okay, is that not aggression? It's a defensive. It's a form of, like, tell me. And then when you overstep your boundaries, they'll commit or they won't. So he would. So I'm like, I'm confused, and this is not this. This is what I was reading from an animal behaviorist. And it said, here's the protocol. Don't say no. Don't use inhumane methods. Now, I want to point this out. Everybody's got methods. Don't use inhumane methods. And I actually agreed with that. I'm like, yeah. But then the stopped saying about methods, and it started saying, well, such as shock collars, choke chains, pinch collar. And I'm like, I didn't even know what a pinch collar was back then, to be honest with you. That was a long time ago. I'm like, looking at this pamphlet, don't say no. This is written by a veterinarian. And I'm like, I don't know what I don't know. I'm paving a way to try and get a SAR dog going. I'm not going to have this SAR dog. He's biting me. So what? I'm going for it. And it was all positive stuff. So I'm like, okay, I never did that before. I came from the old world gun dogs, right? So what the stuff they're explaining to me, oh yeah, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, it's going to cause this relationship problem. I'm like, I never had that experience. I could see that. I've made some mistakes in the past, big time. When you're a kid, you got the old e-collars, the old Tritronics, the plugs, you plug it in. I've been using electronic collars since I've been 12, right? I'm 50. Every day of my life. I got a lot of experience there. Made a lot of mistakes in the past, but I've never seen, and I've seen other places make in the world. I've seen a lot of people make a lot of mistakes. Some real videos and stuff you see is pretty nasty, but the outcome. I've met some of those dogs. I have not seen the cases that the people that really put the fear into the anti of these tools. I've never seen those cases. And tools, folks, you got to understand, methods and tools are not the same. Educate, watch for when people are bashing stuff, right? I run from that anyway, because it's a closed mind. It's like, okay, if you have 4 pieces of the puzzle, there's one. Great. If they're going to bash the other 3 and they don't use it, run. That's not someone I want to be around. It's too toxic of smoke. But I want to educate to how to raise everyone, because they do have valuable parts. We're in this industry, whether you like the person who's fighting with you or not, get over it. They breathe, they bleed. We all want the same stuff. How do you become the role model that you want to see in the industry when you're triggered and you're going to give someone some strategic information through the keyboards or through your, some of us are pretty more confident right into face to face. But I'm going to challenge you to be better at doing it. How do you do it so that you raise the bar and then everyone wins, not just yourself and some people that follow us, right? We have to sell. That's I go back to. We're dog trainers. Everybody's thinking about dogs, behaviors, get their attention. We're selling dog training to people. It's not what they need. And that's why if you're struggling as a trainer, you're probably trying to sell training. Don't do it. Life is training. Think about that. Whether you're thinking about it or not, life's coming at you. Something in life. So in coaching, right? If we can narrow down and talk about areas, where are you getting hit? finances, where are you getting hit? Your health? I have Crohn's. My wife near died a few years ago of cancer. I've been burned out, spit on, shot, been into debts, been up against Walmarts. Everybody in the, look, it's a lot. I talk to trainers now. I'm like, there's some trainers that have to do more stuff. I've been in arm stand-ups, never to shoot a person in my life. Thank God. But I know friends of mine that have had to. That affects us all. I don't care who you are, how you show up. God knows your heart. We're all in pain. When I look at the internet, everybody's hurting at some point, and they show it. I do. I showed it. I watched some of my old videos because I went from 300 pounds because I was hurting, drinking to cope, partying with the trainers, staying up 2, 3 in the morning. I've showed up at my best self and my worst self because I didn't have a coach. I was a hot mess, just being me, being authentic, being true. Do it. You can be a hot mess. People will follow you. People will love you. The people that you're born to attract with your gifts, right? There's people listening to this be like, hate that other people's attract to it. So Matt,
I want to hear all this coaching stuff, but real quick, finish. What happened to your chocolate lab? So you had him at the behaviorist.
Thank you, Matt. You're a good man.
Yeah.
Really, guys, this guy's good.
Everyone's at home thinking like, what is the lab?
What happened? He's went all right. Yeah, good job. So basically, I was told by the animal behaviorist, death before discomfort, click or train it or kill it. So I did the food protocol for 3 months, nothing else. And there's stuff I really liked. And was I any good with food? No, that was my first time. I was like bashed death threats from clicker trainers. So I'm like, so I wouldn't use a clicker back then. It wasn't until I flew to Belgium and had to live there for 3 weeks. That was an awesome experience. Bart got me back into the clicker, Bart and Michael. But at first I was like, I used to have an aversive feeling to hearing that clicker because of like just the shit that goes on in this, excuse my French, but in this industry is like, gosh, and it's not supposed to be. This dog, right? He bit me. So I was doing stuff after a while. I'm like, let's see. Wham. I'm like, no way. Right. So I went to the different province. That's where I actually took a course, my very first course, right? Animal behavior. People went through that. It was a good course actually too. The problem that I found out was the mentor trainers that they were choosing were the same mindset as the behaviors. Don't say no. One of them wouldn't even like evaluate me on corrections. So that was fine. I learned a lot. I went to see another behaviorist in a different province and they said the same thing. If clicker training doesn't work, your dog is a chocolate lab. He has a red gene and you can't fix that and you should euthanize that dog. He'll never. And I'm like, I'm out. There's something weird going on here. I was never in the pet world, right? I was never around all the people. I was always just out hunting, fishing, and dogs. Nobody has that emotional baggage for the most part. Not to the dogs. Not when I came into this world, man. I'm like, whoo-wee. It's emotion. It's like high school. Everybody's stuck at 7 years old, and we're trying to coach humans that are going through pain and emotion, and they have dogs to help them. They'll sleep in their beds, and some can, and some can't, right? So we have to have some sort of, why do you have the dog? Why are you training dogs, right? Well, I didn't kill this dog. In fact, I'm not death before discomfort. Are you kidding me? And I literally was like, okay, I'm going to go to a different country, different coast. I'm in Prince Edward Islands, Atlantic Canada. So I called California. And I tell people, it was back then, it was South Bay Canine, which Adam Katz, big marketer here. He actually, one sentence in an email. There was no social media back then or nothing, folks. It was just, it was Google maybe or something previous. But I just found a company that used tools and did stuff. And I asked, and they're like, hey, if you like, how do I get him not pulling on the leash like a freaking maniac? Like I didn't do that back then, like I did earlier with other dogs. And he was just 8 months out of control. And that's where he said, go get a pinch collar and get rid. So I used a long line and a choke. That was what I was going to do. The Okeeler method, you walk and then the dog goes, I turn and go the other way. And back then there was no finesse for me. It was just like, gonna go turn around. Well, this dog hit the friggin' long line, trying to take off on the trail because he was trained for search and rescue. I never did any obedience. Of course. Duh. Right back then. But you're a canine. You're young. You train dogs for 12 years. You have an ego. Like you can't hardly ask for help. And you went to a vet and they said, clicker trainer to kill it. And so I reached out. One sentence in an email. One sentence. Changed my life. Get rid of the long line. Get rid of the choke. Find yourself a pinch collar and a 6-foot leash. Ease up. Try that. That was it. And I'm like, okay, what's that? So I'm like, look, and I go into Canadian Tire and I found one. It was the biggest one you could find. It was like, look, and I'm a conservation officer back trade. So I'm like trappers, right? Bear traps. So I was like, God. And I remember putting this pinch on my dog, which I loved him and hated him. You know what I mean? Like, you little bad, you're going to get. So all of a sudden, I'm feeling bad for the dog emotionally. I am. I'll admit it because I'm a human being. Well, what do you think your clients are feeling, even though they're listening to you and trust you? Well, you better be there to do your best, show up at your best, not just to do a quick fix, because there's a great tool, but you can make it look bad. And then others have to kind of convince people or say, like, it's not that way, not to be. But I remember putting on him and I was shaking. Felt bad for him. And I was like, death before, well, if this doesn't work, what am I going to kill you over resource guarding? No, I wasn't told to use medication back then. You know why? There was none. Oh, the pharmacy guy. I know this shit. And we can get into pharmaceutical industry, how powerful that is in another way, the influencing the vets, the colleges, the foods. They're a powerful gang, man, I'll tell you. But this dog, I say 7 minutes. It was less. It was probably like 2.5, 5 minutes. I didn't know, folks, there was no leash handling ninja back then. It was just like I grabbed the two, the thumb and the handle, and you just put your hand here and you just walk with your hands there. And I started walking. 6-foot leash pinch, so he didn't get to run. And as soon as he tried to leave, I just did an about turn. He hit the pinch. He said, hey. And he flew. But here's the thing. This is what was really blowing my mind. I'm just walking all stressed, all tight, because I thought this is going to suck for him, right? But that was my mentality of how I'm showing up and how I anticipated tool. But I'm still using it because I freaking needed help. I'm not going to kill my dog, and that's stupid. So I did that. And guess what? My thoughts, what was going to happen, didn't happen. Everything that I thought would happen didn't happen. The opposite happened. It was better because, and this is true, I did a lot of positive training for 3 months prior. Never did that before in my life. So I knew what I was anticipating in my mind. So I figured he would be like, okay, I'm sorry. And then comply and be good, whatever. Sure enough, I thought. He was happy. He hit that pinch. He knew exactly what that was because we did it previous with the slip stuff, right? He just turned, and I did this about turn, and he flew into heel and tried to pass me that second time. I literally didn't walk more than 6 feet, 8 feet. And I'm looking down, and bang, he hits it. I did an about turn. It was just a little hip check. It wasn't a big correction or nothing. And he said, hey. And he was a powerful, and he came in to my side when I did that second about turn, and you could hear it, just like a Schützenprance. And I'm like looking at, because I never did that stuff back then, nothing, never tried, didn't know anything. And I'm like looking at him, and he's all happy and jacked, like prancing. And I thought, this is a sick dog. Like, this dog loves pain. Or I just was like, I don't know. But that was the story then back then. So I saw a massive shift, just with that 1-2 minute healing session with a pinch. Like, I'm talking attitude shift. He was better in certain things. I was using then more long lines and it was easier. Oh my gosh. Not all that pressure for a big hard dog because I had a tool that was working. I didn't use electric then because I didn't know what I know now. And I was like, yeah, I'm kind of scared to ruin him because I was told that. And this is how green I was. I had 12 years experience, not in the canine world, professional pet world, I'll say, but the other canine professional worlds. I was in there, right? But there was none of this emotion, so I didn't know what to expect. I come in here, and it was attackish. Like, cops get attacked all the time, but not personally. Like, this was different, and I found it tricky because you get a lot of different feedback, and I'm like, who the hell are you? You don't know me or where I came from and what I've been through and why I do what I do. I didn't even know I did back then, consciously probably. So I didn't kill that dog. He transformed amazing. And I went to share that with those who said death before discomfort. And this is what upset me. This is really what brought me in the industry. They didn't care once they knew I used the tool. They were in on it to give me advice until I broke the law of being the inhumane SOB using a pinch collar and I wanted to share with them that in 2.5 minutes, instead of 3 months of that, it changed. And when you bring it together, it created a freaking happy dog. I didn't know that right away. I had to learn. That took me a few years to learn why he was happy. I didn't know right then, but that's the learning experience. So any new trainers, I mean, if you've done positive training and you're struggling, yeah, you know why you're struggling? Because you don't have the full picture. You don't have the full motivational aspect. Open up, growth mind, use the tools and don't be scared. There's so many videos and so many people show us every day. That's why I'm not feeling compelled, Matt, to post stuff. I need to post more, I guess, but I've been training I don't have to prove. I don't feel I got to do that. Educate, I think, is more important. But what brought me into it is dogs are, after this many years and making that many mistakes and seeing it, being with them, dogs are easy. They are. It just time and just spending time with it and get rid of your emotion. And dogs are like therapy when you do it right. I play with music, even the hardest cases. I want to get into it. That's my whole dream. So what does Duke do on a daily? I do work with dogs every day. My own dogs I don't work with a lot of pet client dogs as much. I have trainers that do that, but that's my love. I sold everything I owned because the behavior said, if this clicker training doesn't work for the dog, death before discomfort. And I said no. So I did go on and I sold everything I owned. I sold that pharmacy. And by the way, with the power of coaches in my corner and a work ethic that nobody's going to stop, I doubled business in 5 years, not knowing what the heck I was doing against Walmart. And all these grocery chains, and sold everything I owned and was completely debt free and went all dogs. And I never looked back in professionally. So I went like career wise, all dogs. And that was 21 years ago now, but I did it and I went pet world because veterinarians should not be telling people death before discomfort. Now, fast forward from then to now, right?
Let's take a quick break to talk about our friends from the National Canine School for Dog Trainers. They have been a proud sponsor and supporter of the IECP for over 20 years now. National Canine is located in Columbus, Ohio, and they offer professional certifications and educational opportunities for dog trainers. Since 1981, over 2,500 individuals have completed in-person instruction and received their certification at the National Canine School for Dog Trainers. National Canine graduates have created profitable and rewarding careers in all 50 states and in more than 50 countries and territories around the world. We invite you to explore what National Canine has to offer. Please visit www.nk9.com for more information. And now back to the show.
If you're going to get a prescription for a dog, folks, you're not going to get one. You're probably going to get two. Okay. I know this industry, I'm not going to go too long here because I can go crazy, but if you're told death before discomfort, run. This world is not that way. In fact, you want to go and get a rose for someone, you got to go through the thorns first. God put them there. I'm just not preaching my opinion. That's the truth. If you want to grow muscle or lose weight, you got to go and put your body under some tension and time, and you're going to get benefits if it's in that way. But that's hard. If you want to overcome sickness and disease, you got to work, you got to research, you got to learn, but you have a reason why, because you're going to live. I had a reason why I went into pet world. I'm not going to kill my dog because this person said death before discomfort. That's extreme, pretty extreme. I wasn't even a faithful guy that way. I don't know extremism in the industry, but now I understand it. Wow. Right. So that extremism is kind of the, that's the ISIS of the world. That's what I say. It's like, I don't like it. It's just death before discomfort, Matt. The best thing ever happened to me is I got disciplined when I was a kid, being a little punk,
And they've gotten a little more clever in what they say now, right? Where now you don't hear that as much as they'll talk about suppression. So I think now what they'd say to you is, Duke, you've just suppressed it, and now you've got a ticking time bomb. So now, sure, the dog's not as aggressive today, but it's still there. It's suppressed, and it's going to come roaring back. And that's a lot harder to argue with.
But if you look at when we can get emotion out of those things, like it's true, and a lot of trainers will actually go do that aspect, right? So let's say let's be real though. If I am dealing with an individual, let's go crazy here, extreme cases. I've had my nose freaking bit off by 100-some bull mastiff. And I've coached clients telling people years ago, you shouldn't have this dog, right? Like there's times where you need to get rid of dogs. Like just certain people can't have certain dogs. They shouldn't. I shouldn't say can't, but I've called it out and I've had the experience to say that because I said, like, if you're going to own this dog, and there's people that come to us that say, I have this dog and I'm in love with him. He's my baby. And I was told by 4 of the trainers I should get rid of him. I'm like, okay, I don't go there right away because it could be an animal behaviorist and all that crazy stupid. So I listened to them and I looked at the dog. I'm like, dude, God. And there's a couple times in my career where I really, really stressed that I think you should remove one of those big time right now, safety and sanity. And if you're going to own that dog, it's like kenneled and muzzled 24, like out of there, in there, like safety wise. They're dead now. They don't listen to protocol. They're dead. Like phone call. It doesn't matter. People aren't always going to follow through. People say they want things. I say they get to know the reason why. Why do you want your dog trained? Never mind fixing stuff. What's wrong with this situation in your life? So I'm going to make all these dog trainers listen to their life coaches, but you should be. You should be, because it's someone's life. And look at my life back before I even knew, with 12 years experience. I had an animal behaviorist tell me, kill it. And I was on the fence, you know? And I know a lot of people who did. The dogs don't make it to us or you guys. Because people are telling you stupidly, put it on medication or kill it. And I'm seeing this now. So it hasn't. I do have footage that we will put together. I have some case studies that I've collected over 2025, phasing some dogs off the drug stuff. I'm not an anti-drug guy, folks, by any means. I mean, I've ran a pharmacy and I have Crohn's disease and stuff, but I'm really anti compared to what people would think, compared to a lot of others. You shouldn't run to a pill first. I've watched my family. I say this from deep experience. I've done it. Sometimes it helps short-term things, right? When it's under supervision from an actual professional or doctor. But a lot of people are self-medicating in a sense, right? We all do. And when we're hurting and pain, whether it's alcohol, whether it's from addiction, gambling, whether it's whatever, it doesn't matter. Whether it's just overworking, you're avoiding something. I was that way for a lot of stuff. I mean, who works a 100-hour work week and still volunteers, right? When I take that stuff, our dysregulation, our dysfunction, dogs are getting it. It's just passed down. And a lot of us don't even know dogs. Like pet people don't know dogs. I was a trainer for 12 years. I didn't know. You never stop learning if you're in it. If you ever arrive and you're ever there and you're like, that's sad. Now I want to know all the info.
You started to say something a few minutes ago that I think was a good segue back to the beginning, where I flagged when a trainer is talking to a client, you were basically saying you're not selling training, you're selling a transformation.
Right.
Let's spend a little time, because I think that's powerful and I think that's going to resonate with a lot of trainers. What did you mean by that? And could you expand some?
Yeah, no, that's good. And if someone's a coach here that does a lot of coaching or versus the training, we want to put it on the same kind of structure. All right. So people will come in the pet world, they come in, we do a consultation, you fill out information, what the dog does and age and all those things and the issues. So what I do is I'm going to sit down and say, like, so, what inspired you to be here? Why are we here? I understand some of these things. Tell me more about these problems that are they're like the dog, or then they dump on the dog. How many ever hear this? They dump on the dog a little bit. Okay. But he's really a good dog because they feel bad now because they just threw him under the bus. Okay, right there. That's an emotional thing that we need to have them comfortable, realize it. We're not judgment, right? I'm not here to judge you. But when we're a hot mess and we're showing up online and the canine industry Facebook page is not this, but you know what I mean? Like, people are not stupid now. They see and they're nervous. People come in, they're nervous to tell me they use an e-collar. I'm like, yeah. You got to ask questions as if you don't know, even if it's a question you think is a stupid question. They're like, I want my dog to stop pulling on a leash. Okay, why is that important for you? Not just why is it important, because it could be for you. Like, why do you want that? Why is that important for you? Because somebody else over here don't care, right? But now they're thinking, because who asked you that? Why do you want your dog to come when he's called? I friggin' know all the reasons why. I've had a dog hit by a car. I got lots of stories I can share, tell you, right in front of me too. Back my first dog when I was with Shelly. Crushed me. So I got these experiences, and my whole life is this industry, right? So I'm going to sit here. That's why I life coach trainers, but people need this. Why? What's causing the real problem? What's the real problem? Why is this? And I asked them, do you feed the dog and these things? Yeah. But why is it important? And once they start talking, and when you're actually listening to what is it that they're saying, and you read between the lines, because you focus on caring for them, not, oh, I want to sign them up and make money. If you're in it for money, you're always going to be miserable. But if you're in it to help people and you get good at that, you want to be a better trainer? Man, when people are all in, the dogs are way better. How do you get that? Because I used to have trainers tell me all the time, if you ever said, I've told them this 16 times. I told them to do it, told them to do it, tell every time I tell them, you just won't do it. Your approach, why are you telling them what to do? They already know. Ask them, what do they want? What do you want? I want my dog to do this and this. Okay, why? It sounds stupid because, yeah, obviously we know why, but why? Why for them? They never thought of it. Now they're like, well, why do I want them to come? And every answer, even when you guys answer my forms, it's vague. Oh my God, it's vague. And for me, having a coach, I never knew how to communicate properly. I used to be crying half the time with CHPC coaches. It was wreck with a professional coach. So now I've been chiseled and chipped, and I'm still, going through it. But it's like, wait, I can hold that space and listen. And that's something that's kept me excited over all these years. Is like, man, I'm learning and growing in me. That's a hot mastery process. And if I'm able to help other trainers as human beings to live life, to live this industry full, despite all the hot mess and the thorns and all the egos, how do we show up and really raise this industry as leaders when you might not be? Well, maybe you're only 2 years in it, a year in it, right? Maybe you're 20 years into it and you're still as insecure as I could be at some time. So folks, we just have to be honest, right? Honest and vulnerable. Just show up for those. You focus on them, the people who need you. So when they're saying, I want this, I'm like, why is that important for you? And how does it feel right now? You can see they come to you. Anybody out of your humans are emotionally having a hard time with their dog. They may have to kill their dog. They're told by behaviors they can kill their dog. They're in a hot mess because of a crappy relationship. Maybe they're scared. They can't have friends over. They're actually lonely. They're lonely for 6 months. They're begging, but that's their only thing they have is this dog who's a menace to society because, whatever it is, prepare, show up, hold space for the people. And if you're not sure and that stresses you, to ask deep questions and get a coach and get over your own stuff like I had to.
So when you say, you mentioned asking deep questions and finding out what makes the person tick and why they want this, then back to your phrase of sell them on the transformation as
Yeah.
opposed to just the training. What does that mean to you?
So if you're saying to me that you want your dog to come when called, okay, why? So I can have him off in the field. So I go deeper. So I'm going to get things like emotional, like health-wise, really compelling reasons why. You know why? I want the owner to get a compelling why. Like I want the owner to come to a reason why of when I let my dog go, I realize the actual fact that he may get killed. He may not come back. So why is that important to me? Because I care about the dog. And when I'm able to let him go, he can run and burn off energy. We get to go places that I've never been able to go before. And people are safe. And I'm less stressed as a human because I have that ability to get my dog to come back when he's called. And most of all, I want him to be happy. So how important? I always ask people, on a scale of 1 to 10, here's the thing. When you find out what do they want, why is that important to the owner? Never mind the dog, right? Dog will transform into the best we can do. Find out why the owners want it. And the biggest thing is, and then ask them, okay, and if you know, as a trainer, I know I can serve this. This is my jam, right? What I asked them is this. How committed are you to your vision and goals, what you shared with me, what you want, and why it's important to you? How committed are you to that process on a scale of 1 to 10? And if they're like, I'm a 9, then I won't enroll anyone. I can't. Because if you're not fully committed to your vision, your goals, you're just talking about it. Opportunity takes work. Not a lot of work. If you've got good trainers and you have a lot of, its productivity is pretty awesome. I can do a lot of stuff with dogs. That's one thing trainers always say is like, how do you get all that done in that short period of time? 38 years of screwing everything else up and trying to get me. You figure it out. But the cool is some people are like 9. I'm like, what would it need to get you to a 10 to commit to your vision that you just shared to me? Usually they're like, well, I just don't know how. I'm like, that's what I'm for. But if you knew it and you knew how and you have the guidance and the tools, how committed are you? Trainers, you gotta do this because then when you're in the sessions and they're struggling and they get frustrated, you can just stop and hold space and say, let's take a breath. Let's breathe a little bit. And point out the things that they were doing right, because they're humans and you're a coach to that human. I guess you're a trainer. A lot of trainers don't realize the best trainers are the best coaches I've ever found. Really. The ones that didn't know that stuff, they're the best. They struggle lots. They could be amazing trainers, but if you can't talk to people or coach people or train humans or deal with emotion, you're not in the pet world. That's a gift of mine. It is. I always geeked out, but it wasn't something I was like eager to jump into the canine world. There's a compelling reason why. People are killing dogs. I'm in this policing area. I don't really want to be in policing. I love the wildlife. I just want to deal with animals and help people. I love this pharmacy aspect. And then I'm just like, wait a minute. I'm going in all dog. And I'm going to learn everything I can learn until the day I die. And I'm not going to do anything else. But I've been in it long enough to know dogs are easy. We're the hard part. We're the hot mess. We're the ones that are frigging it all up. And we want to be better, right? So selling transformation, because if you don't get it as a trainer, like if you could coach, I didn't get this, folks. I'm preaching to you, and I'm like, I didn't know until I started to learn that. What do you want? Why is it important? Are you committed to this process? And if they're like, yes, then I can stand for you on lesson 2, 3, whatever. I can stand for you as your trainer and coach when you're struggling to stand for yourself and your dog. Permission granted. Bang. Because you're fully committed. You told me you wanted these things. I can help you. We get your dog to come when called. We're going to do this, this, and this. How's that sound to you? Sounds perfect. Great. How's it going to feel in 3 weeks when you actually get that? I want you to be that next testimonial. So money's not going to fix your dog, and I ain't cheap. I literally tell people, but if you want that transformation, and if what you're saying is truthful, that you really want it, and you're willing to commit 10 out of 10, I'll help you no problem. And I'll commit 10 out of 10 my heart and soul, because that's what I give. And that's what I charge for. Because I got 38 years of hell experience. That people don't understand that you could write books on it. People don't care. That's huge discounted. I don't even preach it, but there's a lot of people here. I've spoke to some brand new trainers. It's so funny. You ask questions, getting clarity, feedback, just getting their perspective. And you know what? I've been in this industry, like I said, a long time. And I've talked to some new trainers that are like, they're just different perspective, different mind. And just one little word they'll say, I'm like, that helps me. And I've been doing this a long time because I'm still in it. Really, I want to grow. I want to learn. I want to get better in that aspect. But do you know the challenge is? The humans. So I kind of geeked out in the last 8 years of trying to, because of deaths and diseases and all that type of stuff. I always sit back and do an evaluation. And I'm like, I need to fix me. And I need to get better here at communicating with those people. That's my whole life, man. Like life, people has different world perspectives, right? It's a beautiful world. I'm an outdoors guy, hunting, fishing, and dogs. God, before that aspect, it was just dogs that helped me through it until I hit my 20s, where I got pretty miserable and reactive. I was going to hurt people, believe it or not, Matt. Rewind the pharmacy days, wanting to help people. When you want to help people, but you're in a position where life's coming at you with stuff and there's other outside people, forces, maybe it's lawyers, real estate, you name it, family. God, that's even the most painful. What are you going to do? How are you going to get up and rock at your best when there's a lot of pain that's going on, right? So therapy, obviously different things. And that's actually coaching for me was like the best therapy ever, because it was clarity. It was getting me clear on who do I want to show up as. I actually have words that define that. And I'll change those words as I change. And am I those words? I might write a word down. I'm not that word yet. But folks, how do you want the dog to become? You're all dog trainers. We're shaping the behaviors of the dogs, right? We're all geeked out about the dogs, but then we're not at our best selves. We're not happy as we could be. We're not doing what we need to do. We're not living the way that the creator put us in. Some of us should be doing Malinois stuff, should be doing lab stuff. You know what I mean? Like me, I've tasted a lot of this industry. I've been in a long time, right? Policing, service dogs, bed bugs, scent detection with drugs and bombs, those things, those aspects. gun dogs, hunting stuff like that. That's my passion. Service dogs, obviously, Cole's phenomenal, right? Just retrieval is once I learned how to train dogs, my life changed because dogs became an asset at 12 years old and they got to live longer. Life was less stressful because they understood communication with me. The only thing I had to do is get my emotion and all that ego stuff out of the way and train the dogs and learn and see the screw up and be like, okay, that didn't work, but not feel like, just how do I get this better? How do I get this better? How do I make this better? And
So why don't we get really specific? Some things that, that might help trainers. So I know you've mentioned breath work a couple times. I know you're, very into that. I mean, just give us some examples. Yeah, you showed me the shirt earlier. Let's see it.
so what I've done this year, there's a statement I'm always using, and as a breath coach too, part of the coaching is calming your nervous system, right? And one of the things I always say is, hey, breathe, just take a breath. Don't bark. Could be to a dog, and you say, hey, he's like, hey, whoa, easy. Give him a little pressure. He calms down. Say, okay, breathe, don't bark. So we put this slogan, this is our new merch, breathe, don't bark, right? And get a little Canada flag on there. So
In a claims situation, you want to be sure you have the right coverage. Business Insurance of the Carolinas is the preferred IACP insurance provider for your pet training, boarding, and daycare business. Providing coverage in all 50 states, Business Insurance of the Carolinas offers the most affordable general liability rates to IACP members. For more information, visit www.dogtrainerins.com or speak with one of our agents at 800-962-4611.
I had to just sum that up, like one sentence for
Yeah.
a trainer listening. What does that even mean? How would they use
I
breathing?
love it.
Just
That's a
big
good one.
picture, one sentence. What
Yeah.
would that look like?
Be slow to speak. Shut your mouth and breathe and listen. Be quick to listen. And just hold a long pause. Don't be too quick to speak back. Don't be too quick to type back. Don't be too quick to text back. Why even bother sometimes? Is it worth your energy when, if you're going to take a half an hour to clarify something, you don't need to, where that other person needs your help, or you could be doing something for your life. I don't waste my time with that stuff per se. Now, trust me, you can get attacked all the time. People call you out. They want to challenge you to things on the internet. The best way, if you're that person, it's easy for me. I'm like, number one is I graduated from high school years ago, so I'm not into that stuff. Number two is there's obviously an issue here. You don't know me. I'm someday, but what I'll do right now is I'm quite busy. I'm going to pray for you and move on. That's what I do to people that want to chirp and go on. That's the best way I find to deal with it, because that either stops them from ever messaging you because you're one of those guys, praise me, or they're in it. They're like, oh, wait, and it puts them into check. Because maybe they're saying that's who they are too, but they're not acting that way. Because there's a lot of times we don't show up the way we should. We don't represent who we're representing always. I don't. I try. That's the thing. You got to get the right people around you. Right? That's what I love about Canine, this organization, right? Like Canine Professionals, like when I went there the first time, I had a bag. I was ready. I didn't know if I'd be a trainer again. And I went to conference and I was in the lobby, every 15 minutes, dumping an ostomy bag, meeting all these people that you see, and the craziest thing was, they knew who I was, and I didn't. That didn't hurt. That they knew me because I had stuff. I had a video course and I need some YouTubes, but I'm just a guy from PEI. I train alone a lot. There was no other e-collar trainers here. We got a couple of clients that kind of went off and did some stuff. It's a small little province. There's only a couple 100,000 people. Beautiful place. That's why I bring trainers here. Because when I went away to ICP, it opened my eyes and I met tons of people and they're like, hey, Duke, hey, Duke, hey, Duke. And they talked to me and stuff. I was like, that was cool. And then when I saw, kind of opened my eyes what I could bring to the table, I was really excited. So I was like, wow, so then I grew and grew and grew from there. But now it's us, folks. Like we need skills, we need that, but give yourself permission to just try. Curious, screw it up, right? Like train people first if you're worried about messing out with the dog. But I don't know. I've never seen all these horror stories like people do say. When you really want something, I've seen the innocent misuse where clients go out They buy an e-collar at a store, at a pet store, and then they try it, and level 1 can be too high on those collars. So now they see something that's not good. The dog has their first impression, hey, there's the stinky collar, and now they take it back. So in all fairness, that's their impression. And then they go see some vet that's anti, medication. Now they're on 2 and 3 different medications. If you have a medium drive dog and you're a first dog owner and he's not socialized, so they can do what? Fight or flight. So let's say they get a little bit growly, and instead of running away, they come out. That's just that dog's nature, temperament, what he's learned. So we put him on. So they put him on. And I say to you guys, if you're going to go to animal behaviors, to expect more than one. You're probably going to get 2 prescriptions if it's anti-anxiety, like gabapentin and trazodone and all that stuff. Tranquilizer, like literally. Sometimes 3. I won't take dogs in our programs. I do a board and train like that. I'm like, okay, no problem. We're phasing down. I'm a month, so I have time. They're going to start the process, and they're going to contact that animal behaviorist and veterinarian to know that shit's getting real. Pills are going away. We're talking about exercise. We're talking about changing your diet. We're talking about, getting you to work for a living instead of getting it given to you for free all the time. Because
So
when you shift that,
let's
bam.
pause there for 1 second. Are you saying that you have them phase out the medicine before they even start the board and train?
Sometimes it depends. But during the process, when they are here, I can continue the process of phasing. So I have phased dogs down. I don't see a problem with it. I actually see a beautiful, once they're off it, after a little, especially the last couple of weeks, I know the dog. Like, I can see the dog. I can see the glow. I can see there's emotion. I can feel it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't when they're on drugs. You can't. I don't care who says you could. I've not experienced. Not when they're off. Not when they're fired up. When they want something, right? They know exactly how to get. You have that relationship. You've built it over a few weeks, and now this is like your dog, your own personal. That's what I do. My board and trains, I keep them a month. I don't do anything less, right? Because it pays good, and I get to. So you take 2, 3 dogs max. You're not overloaded with tons of dogs. You're not stressed out. I don't have kennel facilities. I throw them in the truck. We go to the beach. We're downtown. We go to the facility. Heck, if I want to go on vacation to the IACP, I'll bring a board and train. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful life. This is phenomenal. A lot of trainers don't see that. I've lived that on the island, right? But I kind of got away from something you reeled me into.
Well,
It's like,
I've got a few things I'd like to circle back to. So, I was just asking about the drugs, but even circling farther back to where we were talking about breath work for a minute. And you mentioned earlier something about taking a breath even during the session. I think when the dog was performing poorly on whatever. Let's dig into that a little bit.
sure. So
what did you
sessions
mean by that?
in the session with an owner?
Yeah, so what I took it to mean was you're working with an owner, dog's not doing well. I think you're talking about recall, but it obviously could be anything. And you said, let's just stop and take a breath. What does that mean? And what does that actually look like?
So
Obviously.
yeah, no, it looks like, so when let's say anybody's ever experienced, you're coaching a person, whether it's a trainer, whether it's just a pet owner, it doesn't matter, they're dog, training their dog, and you can see that they're tense. You could read the humans. If you haven't learned to read humans, we're busy reading dogs. Keep that up, because that's a discipline. That's a beautiful thing that should always be. But reading humans, holy God, because we're fake, eh? Like, if you can read emotion, you can get into. Dogs are honest. They are. They don't lie with their body language and all that stuff of how they feel and what they're going to do. They don't. Humans, man, the craziest stuff. We're usually got chemicals and stuff. So okay. Take a deep breath. When someone is getting overwhelmed or anxious, or they're just, they could be just going a little too fast because maybe we're coaching. Do it again. And it could be just our energy of how it's landing on them. And we're trying to show up and be we're good, but somebody just said something, and somebody in your family did something. So you're coming into this lesson and you're dragging that into you, trying not to. So it's going to get in the way. It's always going to if you're a smoker, somebody's always going to smell it. So when I'm out by the bonfires, and I go to church and I got blood in my shoes because I was out shooting geese early in the morning, and I love my church. They're just like, love Duke. They know me. There's no judgment. That's what I like it with that, and that's what I like about organizations that don't. But we need to learn to breathe first. I mean, literally, take a breath. If I'm going to explain something to somebody, the first thing I'll do, just one breath, one, leave it in the belly. And I'm going to do a check-in. How is my breath before I even show up in that? So outside of a room, if I'm outside the training room and I'm feeling like, you ever get tired? You're just like, oh, okay, one more. Like, got to do this, got to show up at your best. Some people don't care. They just go in, but I care. Like, I want to be, I used to take medicine and all that before breath work, and your friggin' kill blew up my heart. So I'll tell you that story someday. That's why breath work's good. But I'll be outside that doing so just like, and moving my body, and then just do that. We'll do it together for once we calm down here, and you're going to feel it. I already feel it. Like, I'm jacked up. I used to drink a lot of espressos, not anymore. No, it's true. I used to do the coffee trip all day, seminars, workshops, extra large, three shots of espresso in a Tim Hortons coffee, or that was me. Now
Are
one a
you
day.
off caffeine completely now?
No, I love morning coffee, my 1 in the morning, but it's a lot lower. Yeah. Breath work is huge. So when I see someone who's stressed, even the dogs get all like, you say, whoa, calm down. So one of the things, whoa, calm down, is I use slip leads, or, dominant dog collar. Funniest name for a collar. Shoestring. It's literally, it's use a shoestring. That's what I used when I was a kid. No pain, just a little discomfort, but they calm down. We can't fear that. That's reality. If I'm at the table and excited talking, and I talk quick, if I go to the bathroom, what's on my mind? One thing, nothing else. Could be talking about the world. AI is going to take over the world, whatever. I'm in there looking for one thing only. So when I know how, that's good. That's scary when you can't. So when you know how, and somebody goes ding, ding, whatever it is, you know how to get your best feelings. There you go. Then you got it made. When you feel like you're in control, we're not in control. We like to be, right? So what I tell people is when I'm like, just take a breath. You don't have to worry about this. You just let go. Let the dog, he wants to control. Let him think he's in control. We're just going to change how we are so that he can control it. But you're actually in control at the end of the day. But you have to control your breath first. So let's just focus on me for a minute. So I just had them stop. I say, stop. Look at me for a minute. Put your hand right here. And I start matching my breath. I have to change my energy, and I'm with them. So I can come right up really high, boom, because I practiced that, and then I can come right down and come there with them and be there and say, okay, where's that coming from? Maybe I just take a breath for a minute. And sometimes they have to just go and cry because there's an emotional. So where does this come from? For example, you could be training a lady that has a dog, and she just lost her husband, and that's the dog that he gave that dog to her. And she didn't come and see you for months and months and months and months. And the dog is really, really overweight. And she's just so emotionally messed up and lonely. And you're going to help that. That's what I love about my job. I get to spend time in a room with a person like that. And no matter what the dog is, the dog brought us together. And I'm going to connect with that person and help that person. And if they can let something go, just walking around training dogs, or a high five, what I'm trying to pick out is, let's honor the things that you're doing that are working first. You got to do that, because we're too hard on ourselves. We want the next thing. We want the next. Trainers aren't even sitting down between lessons. They're just bum, 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 bum. I used to. I don't know, but when you can actually schedule, let's say you do work a dog and then you transfer over to the next session. You could be dealing with a maniac, high drive, reactive, and then you got this overweight, nervous, fearful dog. You get switching. That's two opposite things. And you just came from the intense one. Maybe your energy's going to be there. Maybe it's the other one. So what I do is I make damn sure that there's at least 2 minutes or a minute, as best I can, transition from one to the other. And that has to include sit down and close your eyes. You have to close your eyes. And I'll calm myself down as I'm calming. It's just with nose, belly breathing. 4-2-6 method is my favorite for that aspect. And it could only take 5 to 10 breaths, and I'm calm. And I'm thinking about what I just did and let it go. And notes are taken. Then I'm looking forward. So I flip. How am I right now on a scale of 1 to 10? Are you ready to rock and roll for this next lesson? What's this one? This one is a lady that needs you. Go through the notes. When you open your eyes, you're okay. Got it. 3, 2, 1. Let's rock this. And I walk in there, and I want my energy. I want them to feel a good energy, and I want them to have, even if it's not going to be a massive breakthrough lesson, because I charge for results. I'm not cheap. I don't charge per hour. I charge a certain fee, and usually this is structured into very efficient productivity, like, for 2 privates. If somebody has 2 privates, they don't need 6 and 8, 10 privates, guys and gals. Come on, like, we start with some videos at home, then some private lessons to get them to, and then semi-privates, and then group classes. And I have a program that gives them 1 year. I don't do anything else per se. We have a couple more, but that is like the most joyful, because if they're struggling and I want to do another private, I'm going to say, let's do another private. It's only 3 privates, for God's sakes. It's efficient. You're killing birds with stone. Like, you got all these people, you know what I mean? Group, but I don't start with group. That's a hot mess. You try to train someone who doesn't know anything in the room with 10 people. They're all like, what? The dogs are acting up and distracted. So the person's getting about 50% of what you're saying, and the dog's getting about 50% of what they got in a brand new crappy way. How are you going to get it through? Is it going to work? Compulsion, pressure. Or they're real hungry and they're going to train, right? One or the other. What I do is that's not a good way. I never could learn that way that well as an ADHD kid, right? I always get my ass kicked to try harder, smarten up and focus. So you'd learn force focus, right? Now, I've been in the industry long enough too. They didn't fire meds at me and we moved around a lot, but they did it my daughter at one point. And that's why I pulled her out of school and homeschooled, because I was frustrated with the system. Drugs, personal development first. I didn't have that back then. I really wish I did. Like, man, it's powerful. I know it's crazy, sounds all in as a trainer, but you do it long enough, dogs. And when you're better, when you show up with a different mindset, with less judgment, judge less, feel better. I come in there, right? Somebody saying, oh, I know I did this wrong. Or I don't tell people what they're doing wrong. As a good coach, like I've been told so many times, you're doing this wrong, that wrong. Every trainer on the planet is going to tell you what you're doing wrong. You already know. You don't need to be told that. That's not good coaching. That's not going to pick you up, right? What do you want? What's your goal for this? Okay. So now, is what you're doing right now accomplishing, getting you closer to the goal? Is it working? Is it getting you farther from the goal? That habit, that application, that method, that tool, what is it? Is it working? Yeah, it is. Okay. So what's the concern? Well, it's an e-collar and people think, okay, so it's a self thing. It's a from the world for us. Never mind that. We got to work through that aspect. Your dog needs you. You need someone else. If you can't do it for you and you're struggling to get out there and do that, then who can you do it for? Because you're here and I'm here for you and there's a struggle. So there's when I have them calm down and breathe. That's sometimes a conversation. And then I always revisit it. Well, don't stress. Don't stress. We're here. Is this really, seriously, truly something that you really want? I always revisit that. And they're like, yeah, okay, good. Because folks, sometimes they're in it and 3 weeks, 4 weeks goes by and they get a little frustrated and they realize I'm going to settle for less because that's a lot of work. That's a human being in society today. That's like soon, it's going to be January 1st here. And in a month, the gyms are full, and then 3 months, they're not. But we're so hard on those other people, and we're so hard on ourselves when that's how we sometimes show up too. So when we're not showing up that way, when our mindset changes, when we're seeing things differently, and we're able to go through really hard crap in life, no matter what, right? Not with a fake smile and not with fake joy. That's not true. You got to be your authentic self. Like there's times in breathwork sessions where I have people that come in private and we're doing trauma release. And I'm not a therapist. I won't ever tell anybody I'm a therapist. I can give a lot of therapy maybe, but life is that way. Life is shaping you. Life is training you. I made that statement a while ago, but whether you know it or not, like it or not, somebody pulls in the driveway or on an interview, the dog barks or something happens, or life is shaping you. It's how you're showing up in life and the choices you're making. And I always look rewinding to the owners. Okay, you want this, 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 and this. It's not, folks, you're not selling the dog training of just about the monkey drills. That's part of the equation. But I think when we're focused on that, I think the statement when you can't fix behavior problems with obedience, that's terms very popular around. But why not? What is obedience to you? What is that to me? What is our mindsets? Because if we can't get that even on the same page, then we're already going to fight about that. Like, what is obedience? To me, when you're told by something, so to be obedient, stop at the stop sign. If you don't, there's consequences. But I have to know those rules because if I'm in China right now, I don't know how to speak Chinese. I'm not in their culture. So we need some education first, prep work, like little things. Why do I want to go to China? What's it going to be like when I go there? What are the tools? What a little bit you got to prep and then have a coach when you go there so people aren't going to scream at you in Chinese. And I did that before. I say that analogy. One time I was in the police car. It's 3 a.m. This guy's doing like 20, like super slow. It's like 3 a.m. and PEI had 0 people around. It was like the only car. And he wouldn't stop. So we put the lights on and stops in the middle of an intersection, but there's no car. There's nothing. And he gets out, starts coming to the car. Can't speak English. I'm freaking out. I'm like, oop. So I'm out the car, light, show me your hands. Shit, I was freaking out at this guy. And he near had a panic attack. My energy shot across there. He didn't understand English. So we can't even communicate. And even those of us that can speak English, we already get triggered and we're all focusing on dogs and this and what I know. But if you're triggered, I want you to stop and say, wait, if I'm triggered, that's an open wound right there. Where's that coming from? That's an opportunity for you to close your mouth and breathe instead of reacting. Be like, wait, that triggered me. Why? Did you ever ask that? Why is that triggering you? What happened to get that why?
So, breath work obviously is a big topic, right? And hard to do justice in a little conversation like this. I think this would be a good plug. So you're going to be doing a webinar, hopefully in the near future through the IACP, right?
I want to, yeah. So when I was at conference, I wanted to do that to the group, but it just wasn't set up that way.
Yeah.
And,
Could you walk us through just briefly, what would that look like so listeners can kind of keep an eye out for that session?
Yeah, 100%. Let's do it. You want to do breath work?
Well, I mean, we can do some breath work. I guess first give me an overview. So if someone jumps on that Zoom call, what would they expect? Just real brief, just kind of a
the one that I did 2 free Zoom coaching calls. I changed them up
and
because
hopefully you're going to be doing another for IACP members, right?
That'll be specific breath work for ICP coaching for them.
So what would that be? Can you just give a quick synopsis of what that would look like?
Yeah, 100%. That will be just breath work. So I'm not going to bother with coaching. I can do both, but we'll stick with one because a breath work session, I'll probably look at keeping a shorter one, 25 minutes or less. It would look like me teaching them a little bit about their nervous system, just very basic. Why did I do breath work? So 15 minutes or less. And then they have to get a headset. All right. And they will sign up. And then there's a little video they get, it's automated. And I show them how to change their Zoom settings. It is on Zoom because, and hopefully we can do it through Zoom, because they have certain settings that they can change to give you the best effect for the 9D stuff. That's powerful. 9D, if you just go to my page, I won't get into it, but there's 9 different dimensions or 9 different things. So you got guided coaching, you got the surround sound, you got the echoing, you've got your sublingual frequencies, binary beats, and it's embedded into 520 some megahertz. So it'll shift your brain state, whether you're breathing or not in an aspect of, and there's no right or wrong. That's what I like about it. Or I tell people with that, like everybody's different, right? And if you're really, really tight in the chest or your upper breather a lot then your diaphragm, if you haven't breathed into your belly and forced to the air to go into your lower diaphragm and bring as much air into your lungs as you can, but don't let it up into the higher part, that's tough. And a lot of people have a hard time doing it. I've done breathwork sessions. When I do coaching, like our one-on-one coaching to trainers, sometimes we'll just do breathing together on top of the CHPC to help them regulate their nervous system through that. So there's different ways, there's different things that I'll do with different people. When I'm dealing with a big group that I don't know, it's always down regulation. So everybody's usually got something going on in their nervous system, right? And it's kind of gets stuck. So if you picture your nervous system, right? The yin yang thing. You ever hear the story with the dogs and the wolves, which one I feed more, the good one, not good one? I don't do good or not good. It's like cause and effect. What are your goals? Is this going to get you closer to there? And that way you're helping people not feel judged moving forward. They're breathing. And if they're anxious, right? I just say, let's stop for a minute, right? Just put your hand on your heart. And I do that first. Let's just bring it down. I want you to just breathe in through your nose. Just put it in your belly. I don't even tell them what to breathe. Just breathe in. Breathe normal. Close your eyes. They close their eyes. How do you feel right now? Just breathing in and out. Just how are you feeling? Where's that tension coming from? Do you feel? And I just stop talking. That's the craziest, hardest thing I ever learned, to shut up and breathe. So I'm like there and I wait and I wait and I wait. Folks, the long pause is the most powerful thing. All of a sudden, they're going to ask the client a question. Just hold the space. And it's how it lands on them with good emotion. How does that feel right now? And just, if they feel safe, they're going to talk to you. And all of a sudden, you'd be like, okay, don't give them advice. I'm not going to give them advice. And then I can just say, well, how do you want to feel? And what's another way we could try, and what's something we could do to shift our mindset, or what could we do to, I want to get them to try on their own thinking. What do I do with it? Because you're empowering them then. Telling them what to do when they're stressed, they're not going to listen anyways. So just get them to breathe, because that actually works. You can't not, it's like turn the lights on. There's light. It's dark. Now you got light. So you want dark, shut it off. If you want to calm down, and close your mouth, close your eyes, start breathing into the belly and not into the upper chest. That's the biggest thing when I tell people for that, right? And it's helped me so much with Crohn's disease, with inflammation, down regulation. So we'll do belly breathing, and you can even just shift that, and just like, I'll feel the experience if you guys want to do it right now. 5 breaths.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
So
do
if
it.
everybody's here, so everybody who's here right now, what I want you to do is just close your eyes. Okay. And you can put your hand on your heart if you want to, and then the other one on your belly, just to feel if it's going up or down. But even just by taking your hand and putting on your heart, and close your eyes. Put your hand on your heart. How's it feel right now? And then breathe in through your nose. Just breathe normal. And just do a check-in. But keep your eyes closed, folks, because that's stopping a lot of stimulation coming in. Okay. So now how do you feel? Right? Maybe you got a sore butt. We've been sitting for a while talking, or maybe pain in your shoulder. Where's your breath? Is it in your upper chest? Is it in your belly? Is it shallow? Just awareness. And I encourage you to do this every day, many times a day. Set triggers to help you go into self-awareness. So if triggers for me, door thresholds, seeing someone's whites of their eyes, I trigger a response, what I'll say. Transitioning from a car, or when I'm in a lineup at a stoplight or in a grocery store, if I'm sitting there in a lineup, right? Who loves that? I'll do this self-awareness check-in. And how's my energy, and how am I right now on a scale of 1 to 10? I'm a 4. Okay, there's 3 people ahead of me in the lineup. There's the grocery store person, ding, ding, ding. I'm like, how can I raise my energy level to a level 5? Never mind a 10. If you're 4, then, geez, you're having a rough time there today. What do I do to get a 5? How can I get it to a 7 instantly? Do something scary and hard. Like what? Talk to somebody right in front of you. There's like 3 people in the grocery store. Seriously. So I'm always looking for something when I'm there. And it says, I'm like, tattoos, right? I'm like, there's a tattoo. The person there, hi, how you doing? I don't stare. I'm giving them eye contact. They look at me. I'm like, hi, how are you? Great. Not creepy, like, hey, but just, and then I'm always saying, yeah, because it's like, how do I say this or do this without landing creepy? And if I'm like not really sure, I'm gonna be like, hey, listen, in a cool way, not to be creepy or anything. It's just, instead of saying I really like your tattoo, it's safer to say, it's interesting. I noticed it. Can you show it? Like, what does it mean? Does it mean anything? Does it have any meaning? Boom. They'll share. They open up if they want to. That's cool. And then you know what? Normally you're smiling, and I'm smiling when I leave, and they're smiling when I leave. I wish I could say that I always done that, and that people were always smiling when I left. The more I grow, the more I get better at it. That's usually it's an intention. It's something. Well, I mean, that's how we should it, right? You leave on a good smile, and an ending is like, geez, I met Duke at the store. He's going through a lot of shit, but man, he's got it going pretty good, right? Yeah, there's pain. But you got to let it go. That's where breath work helps. Let it go, because we're holding on to everything. We're holding on to, you ever cry and I'm sorry. What are you apologizing for? Your body's trying to let something go, and you're hanging on, apologizing, suppressing it down at a cellular level. And I think it's my first breathwork session. I know, Matt, that I share that with you. The big one, like a big, full-on somatic, why I got into it, like big time. In CHPC, we do breathwork. Very powerful. But then there's 9D. And that's all they do. That's just a breath work, kind of a icing on the cake, very transformational, very powerful. And there is therapy for that, is medical. And when I got into it, started studying it, I'm like, man, I learned a lot about trauma informed and PTSD, more about me for my own stuff. I was like, this is the best, right? And then all the coaches are there. And then those who've never dealt with first responders and people with PTSD, they're all like, hey, like there's a lot of education and they really want to do it right. And I'm like, hey, I'm one of those. Here's what, don't be scared. I did my very first somatic breathwork session a couple of years ago, driving a lawn tractor around. I was listening to the trailer. And before I go on, if anybody's interested now, before we breathe and stuff, go to dukeferguson.com. And there is a 9D tab. Click that. You can get 2 free sessions that's going to actually help you. And they're only 5-minute sessions. One is a energy focused, get you kind of jacked up and ready to rock and roll. And one is calm the freak down, right? Woo. So we got 5-minute sessions for each. You just go to my site, download it. It's free. And then when I do Zooms, people
Yeah, I
can
was going to ask, would you recommend that people go download and listen to those before the Zoom?
Well, yeah, big time. Because when you do it, there's an 8-minute trailer. And if you just, you know what I tell you to do? Just sit there and listen to the trailer, get comfortable. I was driving a lawn tractor, so I wasn't doing any breath work. It's just like, here's the trailer of what this is. But it's an actual experience. Like, it's really freaking cool. Like, it's got cars driving by your head. You're just like, wow. But you know exactly what you're getting into and you feel safe. And that's important. And that's important for clients. That's important for dogs. You know, they don't know what they're getting into, but as long as they're just like, okay, they can go with it. People need that too. So we have to have a safe space. And they come in, they get a headset on. So you'll be on home. You don't do it. And you just listen to the trailer and it'll explain to you. And then it'll roll over to an actual, okay, we're going to change the mind. Everything changes. And then they're going to give you a relaxation one so that you can calm and de-stress every single day. Take it with you every day. It's 5 minutes, right? And then there's an energizing one, 5 minutes. And you know what? If you just do 2 minutes, in fact, what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you the difference in 5 breaths. Just 5. Want to do that?
Yeah. And then I think, why don't we do this? And then we'll start wrapping up. We don't want to give people everything. So this would be a little taste of what's going to happen on the Zoom, right?
Yeah. So on the Zoom, what I want to do for the IACP is an actual breathwork session. You guys can vote. Say you want an hour long, hour and 15 minutes, like an actual trauma. Let's do a lower one first. And if you love it, that's what the Zooms are for. But I'm open to do this to let you guys experience it because it's why I'm doing it. I did my first breathwork session. My wife was in chemotherapy after the day after, and I'm like freaking, it was bad. It was pretty nasty stuff. And I'm not thinking I'm going to have anybody around in time. I really was having a rough time. And this trailer come on, and it was called Transcending Fear. It was the first breathwork session I ever did in that aspect. It was an hour and 20 minutes of hard on, wide open. I'm like, okay, I'm doing it. I didn't care. I'm like, and I was nervous. I was a little nervous, but I'm like, screw it. And I went in and I didn't have to talk to anybody and I was alone. And in 1 hour and 20 minutes, I got more trauma released out of my body, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, at the cellular level in an hour than I did in 10 years of therapy. And I remember lying there on the ground, like feeling like the most amazing thing just happened. And all I did was breathe through this whole scenario. And it was crazy. It was like, I was laughing at one point. I was crying at one point. There's breath holds. Those holds are freaking powerful because it's where your body's just releasing all their hormones. So there's, and you can go way too wide open and get tetany. But I teach that. Like I teach everybody's safe. So if you want to put the pedal down and slay dragons, let's do it. But when somebody's never done breath work before and you're really into this spiritual state, it's kind of like, if anybody's ever done mushrooms or ayahuasca, like I've never done that, so I can't explain it. It's like that, only there's no drugs. And when you're finished and you want to slow down the breathing, you slow down the breathing. In actuality, when I was in Texas, I was going to do a full-on day release with another 90 breathwork coach who does have therapy. So if anybody's in Texas and wants that stuff, Marley's Ledbetter, she teams up with psychologists and stuff. They'll do a full-on medicated breathwork day for you. It's powerful stuff. So let's do that. Let's do some breathing. Just experience 5 breaths. What I want everybody to do is close your eyes. Do this with your eyes closed. Got to do that. We're just going to do now. If you want to, we want to calm the nervous system a little bit. Okay, we're going to shift everything from in here or even a balance just down to the lower. Okay, let's just try 5 breaths, and it's going to be. Now, don't get too bent out of shape with numbers because everybody's lungs are different. Everybody's different, but a general term is breathing in. All right, is when you breathe in, that's going to kind of escalate things, get your heart rate up, things. So if I was to jump out of the woods and go, "Ooh," right, and you go, right, it freaking, yeah, and then you're like, oh, it's Duke, and then you're like, so that release is that calm or rest and digest. The more oxygen you come in and out faster or harder is going to give you that more, euphoria, more punch, more drive. So we want to calm down. We don't want that. So if you want to just close your eyes, put your hand on your chest, anybody just on your belly, try and put the breath in the belly, not the chest. All right. So this is where I say, try if you can, 4, 2, 6. This is what we're going to do. In through the nose is less oxygen. In through the mouth is the most oxygen. So if you're trying to really calm things and keep the least amount, use your nose. So you can breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. What we're going to do is we're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. So you have just a little bit more release, faster there, whatever. Not just faster, but just going to release. But we're going to do it through pursed lips. That's just how I am. Most people can get nasally. And if you're in and out the nose, calming stuff's not bad, but euphoric stuff. And why would you do euphoric stuff through the nose? If you have heart issues, asthma, or if you're pregnant, you can't do somatic sessions. You can go into labor first trimester. So, but you can do calming ones. So I always do calming ones with the group. That's what to expect. So let's close our eyes. Okay. And we're going to just breathe in nice and slow through the nose for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 2, 1, and just let it go. 6, 5, 4, 2, 1. In through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out through the mouth. No, out through the mouth. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In for 4, 2, 3, 4. Out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In for 4. Out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Is that 5? Now, just stay still, everyone. How do you feel right now compared to 5 breaths ago? You just turned your nervous system down. You controlled it. If you practice this. Now, we're all mellow. We could do more and more. Let's do this now. Super simple. Stand straight. Open your eyes. Straighten up. And if you can do 2 quick little breaths in the nose and out through the mouth, it looks like this. So you're doing belly, chest. Try that. 5 or 6, 10 of those. Go for it, Matt. Suck it up. Smell that flower. You're trying to really.
I feel good.
Yeah. So that'll bring you up a little. That's just the nose and the mouth. You could do full on but don't stand up and don't do that 10 times. You fall over because it's a lot more. Try it. Unless you guys have any issues, then don't raise that right away. I'll go into, when we start a session, I'll go into some contraindications, things to be look forward to. You got to sign a waiver. It is safe. It is really safe. They did a study of I think it was 10,000 or so of really people that really struggle a lot with psychology, and they were on medication, and they did a lot of heavy duty breathwork sessions with them. No recorded. These are 2 and 3 hour long sessions of pretty intense stuff. I've never even done that yet at 3 hours. Right. And there's no bad effects out of all kinds of people. And it is deemed as an actual medicine. But think of it. If you can control your nervous system on command, just like you can kind of take a slip and say, "Whoa, calm down, doggy," that knows exactly how to deal with it. You know, you got a tool to do that. And actually, there's other people in the industry now. It's pretty cool. They're doing somatics or whatever with dogs.
Well, I'm thinking we don't want to give everybody everything. We need to keep them wanting to get on this Zoom with you. I think
Yeah.
after that breathing, I mean, I can tell you, I feel the breathing is calming, and I'll jump on the Zoom for sure. I'm excited to see how that goes. What we'll do is in the description of this video, we're going to put obviously all your links, Duke. So send everything over to me, you know, kind of whatever you want to see in the description of this. And then I would say everyone listening, watch the IACP Facebook page, because that's where you're going to hear about Duke's the Zoom call. I think that'll be phenomenal. You know, we'll have that advertised ahead of time. Hopefully we can get that done in the next few months while it's still fresh in everyone's brain. And you said that'll be a long call. People will learn a lot from it. And you'll have links
I'll plan an
ahead of
hour.
time for them to go to your website, correct?
Yeah, an hour and 20 minutes. Like I go there, it's structured. So there's like 15 minutes introductory breath work. Here's what the session is. I'm going to do down reg because of that factor. So, I mean, they go through it, adjust the audios on the Zoom. We'll put all that stuff out, sign the waiver. It's all automated. And if they go over to Duke Ferguson, I'll give the links. They can sign up for that free stuff, which if you use that, like use it today, use it every day. It's 5 minutes, like to change your whole life, which is going to help change other people. Man, I can't stress that one enough. Just breathe. Don't bark.
All right, Duke, appreciate it very much. This was awesome. And I hope to see everybody on Duke's Zoom call. We need a good turnout for that.
Yeah. You don't have to put your camera on. If you want to feel safe, shut her out. We'll suck some air together and you'll love it.
All right. Take care, Duke.
Thanks, Matt.
Welcome to Dog Pro Radio. Yo, listen.
Dog Pro Radio, yo, act to watch. It's Dog Pro Radio, brings back the buses. Dog Pro Radio, and mates a lion. Dog Radio brings back tonight. Dog Pro Radio, yo, act to watch. It's Dog Pro Radio, brings back the buses. Dog Pro Radio, and mates.